Tunari Park is one of the mountainsides here surrounding Cochabamba, the mountain chain towards north of the city. And on the other side is actually Chapare, which is the beginning of the Amazon forest. And down there it's a lot more tropical climate because it's you're closer to the sea level. Cochabamba, the city here, is about 2,800 meters above sea level. And we're also well inside the tropical region, but because of the altitude we get this little bit cooled off and very, very comfortable climate. But let's go up in Tunari Park and check it out. I'm actually gonna ascend here in the park on foot. I've never done that before. I've been trekking a little bit the lower parts of the park, but I've never gone to the camping site, which is at 10 kilometers. So and I'm gonna do that on foot. It's not really 10 kilometers when you walk, because you get these shortcuts. There's a walking path all the way, a trail, and on some places they have made stairs like here, so it's gonna be interesting. Anyway, I've just passed the entrance, the guard station down here in the entrance, so I'm still near the city. You can hear music from some church here nearby, and it's a beautiful sunny day. It's the end of Mars. I think I will get some more shade when I get a little higher, so you have to be careful with the sun here, so sunscreen and the hat. It's a good thing. So I'm gonna keep on walking and do some more filming when the landscape starts to change a little bit higher up, when I enter the more forest parts of the park. I actually lost the trail a while ago. I had to walk off trail for a while and find my way back to the road. I'm not too keen on walking off trail here, especially when I'm wearing such light footwear, just old trail running shoes and short socks. So, but it's not so bad anyway, the terrain. You can walk across if you want to. Thing that is really nasty here, not here in the park, never encountered it here in the park, but in other parts nearby here, rural parts. One thing that is really nasty is you have these bushes that has these thorns, these spikes that are huge and very, very hard, and the twigs with all those spikes tend to fall off when they get dry, and the wind brings these little twigs all around on the ground, on the landscape, and if you step on one of those, you're in trouble, because they penetrate. They are very sharp and very hard. They even use them, or used to utilize these thorns as nails for nailing in soft types of wood. So they are really nasty. So you have to really watch your ground when you're walking. I'm doing that right now just because I'm used to it, even though I don't have to so much, particularly not on the road, obviously. Otherwise, well, insects. We went to the country for a couple of days, brought the dog, and the dog was, after 3 days or so, when I got back to the city with the dog, it was covered with ticks, big ones though, so they're easy to spot. Well, I think I removed about 8 ticks from the dog, mainly from the ears. So I don't know about the diseases here, if the ticks carry any diseases. People never talk about it anyway. Maybe it's because they're not so affected. Mainly the cattle and the dogs. pick up all these ticks all the time. But they're so big, so they're easy to spot and to remove. But I'm gonna keep on walking until I encounter the walking trail again, so I can start shortcutting a little bit. Well, now I reached the area which is a little bit more shady. Start having these trees, these eucalyptus. There was a forest fire here 1.5 years ago, so some of them are still all black on their trunks from the fire. There are fires once in a while. This summer so far hasn't been any big fires. Speaking of cautiousness when you walk off trail and so on, anything else that's dangerous, I've been trying to inquire a little bit about that. Spiders and so on. Maybe I mentioned I saw a tarantula once, a dead one. Those are very unusual here. There seems not to be too many dangerous insects. It's not, at least not what people are aware of. They say there are black widow spiders. So obviously always have to be careful with spiders. But I think black widow are the ones that are least sort of the dangerous ones. They're not so high probability that you will actually encounter one, because they're so shy and their behavior tend to hide away. And there are rattlesnakes. I've never seen any snakes here yet in Bolivia. I saw more snakes, but there are back in Sweden, apparently rattlesnakes. So let's see if I can spot some exotic life forms here today in the park. And a couple of years ago, 2014, when I was here, there was a lot of stories in the news about some cats. Here they just used the unspecified word felinos, which means just a big cat. So it could be a cougar or something, but in this case there was some felinos. Apparently they had been raiding farms just nearby Cochabamba, and the speculation was that, oh, maybe there was actually a jaguar that had made its way from the Amazon. But there are other types of big cats too, like maybe ocelot or I don't know. But somebody had taken pictures of this felino, and it was like a spotted leopard type fur. So therefore all the speculation about maybe there's a jaguar hunting around here. But since then I haven't heard anything. On the little bit more rural areas around here, like Miski, where I used to go, there are actually once in a while encounters with pumas or cougars or mountain lions. Leon, they call them here. But considering again the proximity to the Amazonas, we're just on a little bit higher altitude here. The nature here seems to be relatively benign. Not so much to worry about when you go trekking and camping in the forest. But what about other dangers, like bad people? Tunari Park, where I'm right now, is one of the places where they used to warn you about a couple of years ago to be a little bit careful. There have been some incidents with people getting mugged up here, and now I'm not too worried, especially since I'm here on a Sunday and the weather is nice, so there's always going to be lots of people coming up here. And you have to sign into a ledger when you enter the park, and I saw that there was some Chilean tourists who had already entered, even though I'm kind of early. In the afternoon there will be more people, and I think relatively, anyway, it's more safer now than it used to be. Pick the time when you when you walk around in these desolate areas. Obviously, pick the right day of the week and the right time. So I'm still looking for the walking trail stuck on this dirt road. I think I'm gonna go running for a while actually. So we'll see if I encounter some shortcuts soon. So I was actually jogging for a while, and what if you're a runner like me, medium or long distance runner? What's that like in this environment? Well, obviously we're on high altitude. I'm more than 3 kilometers above sea level right now. So it takes a while to adjust. You have to be careful the first times you run on this altitude because you shouldn't overdo it, push yourself too hard. Now I'm quite acclimatized. What I suffer from though, what is called EIB, it means that after exercise, after running, I start coughing. And those sort of symptoms get worse here. Actually the dryness, the low humidity of the air. So that's why you're also more prone to get all sorts of throat infections when you're not so used to this climate and get colds all the time. Now there's actually a bicycle approaching. So here's my first human encounter so far. A guy on a bicycle, mountain biker. Well, I'll keep on moving, try to encounter the walking trail. So 6 kilometers. I'm about halfway up to where I'm going, and I can indeed spot the little staircase here. So I'll get back on the trail. Great. Although I think it's gonna be tough to run here. I think I'll have to actually walk and try to keep a high pace walking. This is nice though. Here in this part of the forest start appearing these pine trees. You start getting this wonderful smell, these scents in the air from pine trees and other vegetation. It's really beautiful here. It's amazing. It's great to walk or ride your motorcycle or a bike here during a hot day like this, because it's a hot summer day, but all of a sudden once in a while you get these breezes with this really cold and chilly sensations. It feels like you're walking through a cloud. It's a little bit chilly. And on a cloudy day, it will actually be misty up here. It will be misty even much lower down, closer to the city. And look here, here's still a cactus. That's pretty cool, I think, with this mix of vegetation that you normally associate with different climate zones. And keep going. You got these dry creeks cutting through the landscape. Speaking of dry creek, soon it'll be time for me to stop to get some water. Saturate myself. What's the word? Hydrate. To hydrate. Whew. Still mostly leaves here, this eucalypto, but soon I know that there will be strands of the forest with almost only pine trees, so it will be a little bit of a trip back to Scandinavia for me. Now I actually reached the campsite, so I'm on 10 kilometers 10 kilometers on the driving trail on the dirt road, or 9.5 I think. This is a nice place. I always stop here when I go up here because it's like this, I don't know how to describe it, but it's something that brings me back home to where I'm from. The ambient. Not that I'm homesick or anything, but it's an atmosphere here that I'm really familiar with all this, with this spacious forest, with these pine trees and the birds. When you pass this area, there are always birds singing. So anybody who's from Scandinavia and who knows what it's like walking in the forest at springtime or summer, it's a very familiar feeling here. And from here you can see the city down there far away. I don't know if the resolution is good enough on my phone camera. Well, this is as far as I'm gonna go today, but you can keep driving this road far up the mountains here, and you can go, this is the way you should go if you want to go up to the summit here, the Tunari Peak Tunari, which is one of the mountain tops here. It's about somewhere between 4 and 5 kilometers above sea level. I haven't been up there yet, but I think even on this altitude, I'm going to check right now what the altitude is, and it's pretty interesting to go up all year round, because there will be snow here sometimes in the winter, at least if you go a little bit higher than this also. So people go up here sometimes to play in the snow. I'm thinking of trying to go skiing, bring cross country or randomly skis up here in the winter sometime. Now you can hear one of the creeks. Great. I'll be able to get some water down here in the little canyon here. A little bit steep to access here, but now I'm actually down by the creek. Nice. Yeah, cold. Really cold water here. Using my little Sawyer water filter. So now it's about time for me to start heading back down. Gonna try to make a stop on the way back down also to show some nice views. This is the pack that I've been wearing today. I've been walking pretty light. This is actually awesome, very, very comfortable. It's 5'11", Havoc 30, the most comfortable backpack I've ever worn. When you need to bring a little bit of clothes and maybe some extra food and some water and stuff. Really, really nice backpack, but there are lots of reviews on this pack on YouTube, so I don't need to make another one. I'm gonna start. Well, I actually did check on Google Earth just now before I started descending the altitude, and it said 3.9 or nearly 4 kilometers above sea level. And you know, that makes sense because we're pretty high above the city here, and city here is about 2.8 kilometers above sea level. So it's a very nice climb. climate here all the year round. Actually, the winter is very beautiful too. I actually made some footage when I was here in June in the winter. I'll see if I can find it, and I'm gonna cut it into this little movie, so you can see when I've been filming in the winter here. The differences are not so dramatic, obviously, but big thing is that you can see that there are glaciers around on the mountaintops. And again, sometimes on some occasions when it's been snowing a lot, there should also be snow on this level where I am right now, probably, or if I go a little bit higher. But the snow on this altitude obviously is just occasional. It's just from time to time. When you wake up in the morning and it's been raining down in the city and you're looking up on the mountain slopes and you see that there's lots of snow up here. But it won't last. Just stays for one day or a few days at the most. Now I headed back on the dirt road, and this is one of the beautiful viewpoints that you pass when you're going on the road here. You have an amazing view. On the other side, the opposite mountain slope here, and this steep cliff. There's a river down here also, obviously. And it's very high here, and I think this is about where I stayed during the winter time when I was here, and I was filming the glaciers on the other side. Let's see if I find that footage. I'm about 5 or 6 kilometers up now, but this place is just insane. The road just goes on, and it's really beautiful. And as you can see from here, well, not just from here, also from the city, you can spot these glaciers nearby. We're actually in the middle of winter now here in Cochabamba. It's the end of July, so some days when it has been snowing a little bit further up on the hills, there's a lot more snow on the mountainsides. Right now it's not a whole lot, but it's beautiful. And I think all this forest, if I'm not completely wrong, it's all been planted. It's all plantations, and you can actually see I wonder if that is a condor or if it's just a big eagle. I don't know if it's even visible on this camera if I try to zoom in. Far down there is the city. Getting back on the road. Oh, here's the walking trail. Staircase, how convenient. This park is a created forest, more or less. There used to be other types of vegetation here, shorter kinds of trees and bushes. All these pine forests, and you get them all over this part of Bolivia. When you're traveling on the roads here, often get this beautiful landscape with these pine forests. But even I can remember, like the first time I came here, like 10 years ago, it was they weren't so developed, all these forests. This Tunari Park was still here. I didn't visit it, but I saw it from the city. But so these forests were, I think, grown up. But other parts I have sort of followed them growing up. So now there are these dense forests with little Christmas trees everywhere. It's pretty nice, but there are some differences of opinion. Obviously, there are these people who sort of evaluate the environmental impact of this, who are also skeptical, because I think it's one of the ideas is, well, they harvest the forest on some places. They harvest wood. Another idea with this is to prevent erosion, because it's a very, very erosion prone soil here, as you can see. But actually there are some people, I've heard some people claim that these eucalypto trees, they have such deep and aggressive roots, so they actually speed up the erosion. I don't know if that's true. And to bind water, obviously, also, because the water flow here is very uneven. That's a big difference from Northern Europe, from where I come from. Like the creeks, everything is referred to as Rio here, even if it's a small creek or a big river, but they are often dried out, and then they are flooded. So it's like either dried out or flooded. That's why it's a very, very uneven water flow. It's like the terrain isn't able to bind so much water. They say also that the tropical glaciers we have here, that they have been shrinking during the last couple of decades. I don't know. It's actually been colder here, chillier here during the last 10 years.